When Michael McDowell won the 2021 Daytona 500, it marked the crowning achievement for a driver who had spent over a decade bouncing around backmarker teams in different series to get to that moment. The Daytona 500, it doesn't get much bigger than that. And while winning that race was an amazing accomplishment and a potential career saver, I'd argue that what the Phoenix, Arizona native has been able to do this season may be the most impressive feat of his career. At the time of recording this video, Michael McDowell sits 16th in points, just 17 points ahead of the playoff cut line. Let's take a quick look at some of the guys he's currently ahead of in points. AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Suarez, Justin Haley, Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe. Every driver I just listed has won a cup race before. And if you really want to get technical, McDowell is also ahead of Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. So yeah, here in the top 5 at Atlanta to go with 5 top 10s, and since Gateway, he's finished outside the top 13 just twice. Over the last 5 races heading into Pocono, McDowell had scored the 6th most points out of any driver in the Cup Series. McDowell also keeps his cars clean, having just 1 DNF this entire season, and that was back in Darlington. But what's so impressive about all this? I mean, these just sound like solid numbers, but nothing really special. Well, when you consider the team he drives for, then you'll start to understand. Front Row Motorsports, ironically, has never been a front row caliber team. They've always been a 25th to 30th place team for much of their history, fielding journeyman drivers like John Andretti, Travis Quapple, David Reagan, Josh Wise, Cole Witt, and many others. If you don't know most of these guys, I don't really blame you. They're always scraping together sponsorship for every race, which is why it feels like they have a different sponsor every week. They have just 3 wins in their entire history, but that's not stopping them from improving. Ever since McDowell joined Front Row in 2018, the 34 car has been running better than at any point in the team's history, with Chris Buescher's 2016 season being the exception thanks to his rain-shortened win at Pocono. To start the 2021 season, McDowell had 3 straight top 10s, a streak that Front Row had never accomplished before. He earned a playoff spot from his Daytona win, but was eliminated in the round of 16, as expected. What I really think has been the biggest factor in elevating Michael McDowell's and Front Row's performance is the next-gen car. Through the first 21 races in 2022, McDowell had 1 top 5 and 8 top 10s, easily a career-best season for him and the team to that point. They were 21st in points with an outside shot at making the playoffs. But then, the penalty police dropped a hammer, issuing an L2 penalty for modifying a single-source supplied part, which is a big no-no with the next-gen car. This meant the loss of 100 driver points, 100 owner points, 10 playoff points, a 4-race suspension for crew chief Blake Harris, and a $100,000 fine. McDowell fell to 26th in the standings because of this, but was still able to finish the season strong by nabbing 1 more top 5 at Talladega and 4 more top 10s, ending with the 23rd place points finish, the best in McDowell's career and the best in Front Row's history. He also led 67 laps in 2022, which was also the most of his career. Blake Harris left the team in the offseason to become Alex Bowman's crew chief, but this hasn't seemed to hurt McDowell as much as people thought it would. But it's not just McDowell and the 34 team that has improved thanks to the next gen. The 38 car, currently driven by Todd Gilliland and sometimes Zane Smith, has been one of the most dysfunctional rides in the sport over the past few years. Since 2019, they have had 5 different drivers, finishing no better than 28th in owner points. After a tough rookie year, Todd Gilliland has had a pretty solid 2023 season, even with the shocking news that Zane Smith would be taking his ride for 6 races this year. He's had 3 top 10s, just 2 DNFs, and is currently 24th in points. If Todd was in a 38 for every race this year, they'd probably be higher in owner points than 25th. There's still a lot of speculation about that seat for next season. Maybe they end up replacing Gilliland with Zane Smith, maybe they don't. But I would really like to see Todd Gilliland be on a team where he has time to develop. Now, there's also rumors surrounding Michael McDowell's future. With Eric Almirola potentially retiring at the end of the year, McDowell has been named a potential candidate for the 10 car. But other than more money, what can SHR really offer McDowell that Front Row can't already? The fact that this is even a debate now is honestly pretty sad. But anyway, he and Todd Gilliland are higher in points than every SHR car, excluding Kevin Harvick. That organization is only going to regress even more once Harvick retires and the Smithfield money leaves with Almirola. You can make an argument That front row is the third best Ford team right now, having surpassed SHR. Michael McDowell is 37 years old, and he doesn't have the luxury of waiting a few years for that team to rebuild. He's in the best car of his career, and this is probably as good as it's going to get for him. So can Michael McDowell actually make the playoffs? I think he can, and he may not even need a win. The final 3 races, Indy, Watkins Glen, and Daytona, are going to be where McDowell is strongest. He's been a great road racer his entire career, and is a pretty underrated super speedway racer too. But keep in mind that some of the guys behind him, including Daniel Suarez, AJ Allmendinger, Austin Cindric, and of course Chase Elliott, are all great road racers and can easily shake the standings up with a win. Since the playoffs were introduced in 2014, the only way a driver from a small team can make the playoffs is if they won a race in the regular season. But if Michael McDowell can point his way into the playoffs, that would truly be one of the most remarkable underdog stories in NASCAR history. To come from surviving an awful crash, driving part-time schedules for teams like Phil Parsons and Lee Vine, and even going down to the Xfinity Series for a bit, it's been a remarkable career turnaround for one of NASCAR's most lovable underdogs. Only time will tell, but it's looking pretty good for Michael McDowell in Front Row Motorsports.
And Michael McDowell from Glendale, Arizona, for Bob Jenkins Front Row Motorsports, has won the Daytona 500.
How about that?
McDowell is the 40th driver to win the Great American Race.
Such a great way to get a first victory at Daytona 500. Are you kidding me?